Yeah, hello viewers, you're welcome to my YouTube channel, Mathematics Made Easy. Yeah, so in today's video, we'll be treating simultaneous equation. Alright, so we are students in college, we are students in grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. So this video is for you. We are students preparing for WAEC, JAMB, IJMB, or any other exams. So this topic is for you. Alright guys, so if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and also share. So let's dive into our work for today. Simultaneous equation. So what kind of simultaneous equation are we doing today? We'll be dealing with simultaneous equation of two variables. Alright, that is simultaneous equation in this form. Ax plus by equal to c, and then dx plus ey is equal to f. So this is the type of simultaneous equation we're talking about. Alright, simultaneous equation of two variables, x and y. Do you get me now? So x and y are the variables here. So where a, b, c, d, e, f are the words are constants. Okay, so the coefficient of x in this first equation is a. The coefficient of y in this first equation is b, while the constant here is what, c. The coefficient of x in equation 2 is d. The coefficient of y in equation 2 is e, and then the constant here is f. I hope we're getting it. So this is the kind of simultaneous equation we're dealing with today. Maybe next in our videos, I'll be talking about simultaneous equations that involve three variables. Do you get me now? Now, to not waste much of our time, I'll be talking on three methods, okay, of solving this kind of equation. So I'll be making use of elimination method, right? Elimination method. I will be making use of substitution method, and then matrix method. Do you understand? So that is these three methods, I will be using them to solve some simultaneous equations problem. Are we together now? Now let's start with elimination method. Elimination method. So I'm going to use one example. Okay, then that one example, I'm going to use the three methods to solve the problem. Now let's dive in. Example. Solve for the value of x and y in the equation below. We have 2x plus y is equal to 7, and then we have x minus y is equal to 5. So this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. So in this particular equation, we want to solve for the value of x and y. Now the first method that we'll be using is the elimination method. Solution. Now, make use of elimination method. You can do it this way. The first way that we can make use of to solve this problem using elimination method. Now, if you want to solve for the value of x, let me write out the problem. We have 2x plus y is equal to 7, x minus y is equal to 5. And let's say you want to solve for x first. What are you going to do? You want to solve for x. We can add this equation together. Why? Why am I hiding? The reason why I'm adding these two equations is that the coefficient of y here is positive 1 and the coefficient of y here is what? Negative 1. So if I add the two equations, y is going to what? Cancel out. Then what remains is what? X. Are we together? But if the coefficient of y here is like 3 and the coefficient of y here is like negative 1, you cannot add straightforward. You have to undergo some other processes, and I will be explaining that soon. Now, since this coefficient here is 1 and the coefficient here is -1, so I can actually add the two equations together to get the values of x. Alright, let's do that. If I add the two equations, so I'm going to have what? 2x plus x. So that's going to give us what? 3x. Okay? Then plus y minus y. So that will give us what? 0. That's cancelled out. Then we have 7 plus 5. That's going to give us 12. Now, to find the value of x, we have to divide through by 3. So we do that over 3 over 3. Then we're going to have, 3 we cancel out 3. So we have x is equal to 4. So that's the value of x. Okay? Now, since we've gotten the value of x, say, put x to be 4. In any of the equation, you could make use of equation 1 or equation 2. Alright, so let me be making use of the equation 2. So put x to be 4 in equation 2. So we're going to have x minus y is equal to 5. That's equation 2. So where the value of x is 4. So we have 4 minus y is equal to 5. Then what are we going to do next is what? Subtract 4 from both sides. So if we subtract 4 from both sides, we're going to have 4 minus y minus 4 equals 5 minus 4. So 4 minus 4 is going to give us 0. So you have negative y equals 5 minus 4. So that's going to give us 1. So 5 minus 4 is 1. Now divide through by negative 1. So we do that. We have y is equal to negative 1. So therefore, the value of x is equal to 4 and the value of y is equal to negative 1. But we have to, let's check if what we solve is correct or not. Okay, so you input the value of x and y into this equation. Now let's do that. You can make use of equation 1 or equation 2, any one you like. So let's make use of equation 1 to check. Check. Now, equation 1 is 2x plus y equal to 7. So the value of x is 4. So I'm going to have 2 into bracket 4 plus the value of y is negative 1. Will it give me 7? Now let's check. 2 multiplied by 4 will give us 8. The plus times minus will give us minus 1. Then 8 minus 1 will give us 7. So that shows that this, our answer, is 100% correct. We can make use of the second equation too, which is x minus y is equal to 5. So what is the value of x? The value of x is 4. We have 4, then minus, the value of y is negative 1. Negative 1. So minus times minus will give us plus. So we have 4 plus 1, which is equal to 5. I hope we understand. So that's how you make use of the elimination method. Okay? Now, this other method is the substitution method. So we are done with elimination method. So the second method, substitution method. And let's do that. Let's do that. Now, if you want to make use of the substitution method, so let me write out the equation. We have 2x plus y equals 7, equation 1. We have x minus y equals 5, equation 2. Now, look at it. Now, you can decide to make either x or y the subject of the formula in whether equation 1 or equation 2, any one you like. Are we together? So you can decide to make use of any of these, the subject of the formula. It could be x you want to make, or it could be y. Do you understand? Now, let's make y the subject of the formula in equation 1. Because y, the coefficient of y here is 1, so it will be very easy for us to solve the problem. I hope we are getting it. Now let's do that together. So let's make y the subject of the formula. So if you do this, we have y is equal to 7 minus 2x. So I can call this equation 3. Do you understand? So if I call this equation 3, then what am I going to do? Now, this is what we are going to do. We say, substitute equation 3 into equation 2. That is, everywhere we're saying y in equation 2, we put 7 minus 2x. Now, equation 2, which is x minus y equal 5. Then we're going to have x minus, then y is 7 minus 2x, so which is equal to 5. Then you open the bracket right here. So if you do that, we have x, then minus and 7 will give us negative 7. Negative 1 times negative 2x will give us positive 2x, which is equal to 5. Then you collect like terms. X plus 2x, that's going to give us 3x. Then you add 7 to the both sides. So if we do that, we have 5 plus 7, because negative 7 plus 7 will give us 0. So we add 7 to the both sides. So we have 3x equals 12. Then you divide through by 3. So we do that, we have x is equal to 4. You can see, we got the value of x here to be 4 also. Then if we make use of substitution method, we got the same answer. X is equal to 4. Now, let's find y. So don't forget, we already made y the subject of the formula from equation 2. Then that gave us our equation 3. Let's say, put x to be 4 in what? Equation 3. In equation 3. So we do that, we have y equals 7 minus 2 into bracket 4. So we have y is equal to 7. 2 times 4 will give us 8. Then 7 minus 8 will give us what? Negative 1. You can see x is 4, y is negative 1. So that's how you solve it using substitution method. So we are done with this and this. Now the last method is the matrix method. How you can make use of matrix to solve simultaneous equation. Now, it's not something that is hard. Okay, so let's do it together. Let me clean this part. Okay, I think I still remember the question. We have 2x plus y is equal to 7. Equation 1, x minus y is equal to 5, equation 2. I think this is the question we are solving. Alright, now what makes use of the matrix method? So, how are we going to do that? The first thing you are going to do is to rewrite this equation in matrix form. Then how do you do that? So you're going to write it this way. Now, the coefficient of x here is what? 2. So you write 2. The coefficient of y here is 1. You write 1. The coefficient of x here is also 1. And the coefficient of y here is what? Negative 1. Then you write x and y. So which is equal to 7 and 5. So we want to solve for x and y. Alright? Now, the next thing you are going to do is to find the determinants of this. Then how do you find the determinant? So the determinant, so I can call this matrix, let me call it matrix A. So let's A be equal to 2, 1, 1, negative 1. Then find the determinant. So if you find the determinant, you cross multiply this way. 2 multiplied by negative 1, that's going to give us negative 2. Then minus 1 multiplied by 1, that will give us 1. So minus 2 minus 1 will give us what? Negative 3. Alright? That is our determinant. So the determinant is negative 3. Then after you find the determinant, then you find the inverse. Then how do you find the inverse of a matrix? The first thing is to find the what? The transpose. The adjoint. Okay? Inverse of a determinant is equal to 1 over, inverse of a matrix rather, is equal to 1 over determinant multiplied by the adjoint. All together now. So that is how you find the inverse. Okay? So this will be equal to, so how do you find the adjoint here? What are you going to do? So you switch this and then you multiply this by what? Negative 1. So if we do that, we are going to have 1 over determinant, which is negative 3, then multiply by what? So if we switch this, we're going to have negative 1, then you multiply this by what? Minus 1. So we have negative 1, then then this will come here, we have 2. So that is our inverse. Now, next thing you are going to do is what? You use this inverse to multiply these both sides of the what? Of the equation. Because whatever you do to the left hand side must be done to the what? Right hand side. So you use this inverse to multiply the two equations. So if you do that, we're going to have 1 over negative 3, then into bracket negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, 2. Then multiply by 2, 1, 1, negative 1. So xy, so which is equal to 7, 5, multiplied by what? Negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, 2. Now, how do you multiply this matrix? This multiplication of 2 by 2 matrix. Now let's do that together. So this is row by column what? Multiplication. Do you understand? So this is what I mean. So we have 1 over negative 3. Now we use this row to multiply what? This column. So we're gonna have negative 1 multiplied by 2 plus negative 1 multiplied by 1. Then use it to multiply this guy also. We have negative 1 multiplied by 1 plus negative 1 multiplied by negative 1. Then do the same thing with the second row. We have negative 1 multiplied by 2 plus 2 multiplied by 1. Then we have negative 1 multiplied by 1 plus 2 multiplied by negative 1. Okay? So let's finish this first before moving to that part. So we have minus 1 over 3. Then into bracket, now negative 1 multiplied by 2 will give us what? Negative 2. Then negative 1 multiplied by 1 will give us what? Negative 1. Now, negative 1 multiplied by 2 will give us what? Negative 2. Then 2 times 1 will give us what? 2. Now, negative 1 times 1 will give us what? Negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 will give us what? Positive 1. We have plus 1. Negative 1 times 1 will give us what? Negative 1. Then 2 times negative 1 will give us what? Negative 2. So this will give us negative 1 over 3, then into bracket. Now negative 2, negative 1 will give us what? Negative 3. Then negative 1 plus 1 will give us what? 0. Negative 2 plus 2 is what? 0. Negative 1, negative 2 is what? Negative 3. Now what do you think we can do? We can factor out this negative 3. So if I do that, I'm going to have negative 1 over 3, then multiply by negative 3, then into bracket 1, 0, 0, 1. So negative will cancel negative, then 3 will cancel out 3. So I have my identity matrix, which is 1, 0, 0, 1. Now, we are done with that. Now, let's do this guy. Let's multiply. So, if we multiply that, we have negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 2. So, multiply by 7 and 5. So, like how we multiply this, we do the same thing. So, this by this, then this by this later on. So we're going to have negative 1 times 7 plus what? Negative 1 times 5. We take the second one. Negative 1 times 7 plus 2 multiplied by 5. So this will give us, negative 1 multiplied by 7 will give us negative 7. Then negative 1 multiplied by 5 will give us negative 5. Then negative 1 times 7 will give us negative 7. Then 2 times 5 will give us positive 10. So we have negative 7 minus 5 will give us what? Negative 12. Then negative 7 plus 10 will give us what? 3. Alright. But don't forget we have negative 1 over 3 outside here. But what we need now is just the multiplication. And we are done with that. We have negative 12 and 3. And here we have what? 1, 0, 0, 1, which is the identity matrix. So this implies that, so when you multiply these, and this together, we get our identity matrix. So which is 1, 0, 0, 1. Then multiply by x, y. So which is equal to negative 1 over 3. Then when you multiply 7, 5, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, and 2, we got negative 12 and 3. So we have negative 12 and 3. Now what do you notice? We can factor out negative 3 from what? From this, our matrix. So if we do that, we are going to have negative 1 over 3. Then multiply by what? Negative 3. Then into, when you factor out negative 3 here, so we're going to have 4. When you factor out negative 3 here, we're going to have negative 1. Alright? So, what do you notice? Negative 1 times negative 1 will give us positive 1. And 3 will cancel out 3. Then, when you use your identity matrix to multiply any matrix is going to give us what? That matrix. So 1001 multiplied by xy will give us what? Xy. So we have xy, which is equal to, now what we have now is what? 4, -1. So that shows that x is equal to 4 and y is equal to -1. You can see, when we make use of the matrix method, we got same thing. We got x equal 4 and we got y equal -1. So that is that about that. Alright, so if you like this kind of video, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like my videos. For more, comment, share, and click the notification button so that anytime I upload video, you'll be the first to watch. Thanks for watching. See you next time.